Hey there, welcome to another one of Sybil's Teacher Tips. This one is for our Plants and Soil Student Activity Pack. So first thing you will have noticed is there is a big old teacher bag in there. So this particular bag is very important. It contains materials that you will need to do both the seed activities and the plants and the seeds, as well as the soils. So in this teacher bag specifically, there are 2 different soils activities that are going to be led by the teachers, so you will find 2 teacher guides in there. Now, in the student bag, it's all about plants. So inside your teacher bag, though, is where you're going to find the seeds, hand lenses, all of that you need. So let's go ahead and dive into the plants and the seeds part that comes with this activity pack. All right, so the very first part is looking at seeds. So your students are going to want to take out this little food tray that is inside their bag, and then they're also going to want this plastic vial. Okay, you, out of your teacher bag, you're going to want to get out some hand lenses. These are going to be shared amongst students, and then you're going to get out, this is your radish seeds, they're all labeled. This is lima bean, and then of course we have our sunflower seed. So the very first thing you do is give every student a radish seed, a lima bean seed, and a sunflower seed. You also have them put them in the trays so they don't lose them, right? And that way they also have a nice white background so that they can take a look at them. If you want to use a white piece of paper instead, perfectly fine. But the hand lenses, these are going to be shared, so let your students know that they are going to share with a partner or small groups. And then what they're going to do is they're going to look at the seeds with their hand lens and make some observations about them. Okay, the second part of seeds, you will need some water for your students. So this is where the vial comes in. What you want to do is you want to fill the vial about halfway to 2/3 up with water, and then you're going to ask them to drop the 3 seeds that you gave them, the lima bean, the radish seed, and the sunflower seed, into the vial. So you can see that right here. The sunflower is at the top. There we go, sunflower is at the top. Lima bean is at the bottom, and then you can see, if I rotate it around, the radish seed is right there and also on the bottom. So you're gonna let that sit overnight for 24 hours. Once it is sit for 24 hours, you are going to take out, first of all, have them make observations. What do they notice before they take anything out? You know, they should notice that the sunflower seed is floating. So that's a great conversation to talk to them about afterwards, that the sunflower seed has a coating before you even get to the seed. Okay, but what we want to do is the reason we're soaking it is we want to be able to look at the seed more in depth. So after the 24 hours, they're going to open this up. They're going to reach in and they're going to take out their lima bean, and yes, sometimes the water spills, it's okay. So after it is soaked, leave the other ones in there for now. After it is soaked for 24 hours, they can gently peel off. Okay, so here you can peel it off. This one has not soaked for the full 24 hours yet, but once you do that, you can peel the coating and then you open it up and you're able to see the inside of the seed, which is really cool. So one thing that's nice here is we do have, this is in the student bag, this really nice drawing of the lima bean, and it talks about the leaves and the embryo and the cotyledon and the seed coat. So remember, they remove the seed coat, open up the seed so they can see all the other stuff. The lima bean, we start with the lima bean because that's the easiest to see. So once again, let them use their hand lens, sketch it out, make observations. Can they find the little leaves? Is it, can they point out the embryo and talk about the cotyledon? And then have them take out the radish seed. This is a little bit harder because it's smaller, but same thing. Take off that seed coat, pop it open, and you can see all those little parts happening. So doesn't matter the size of the seed, gonna have the same parts. Okay, this next activity is called germination. The students are gonna wanna take the sandwich bag out of their bag along with a pipette. Now, once again, this is where you're gonna go into your teacher bag. You have these little cups, you're gonna fill them up with water. It's gonna be shared amongst the students because you don't need a lot of water, okay? And then you're going to want to give them 3 radish seeds and 3 sunflower seeds. So I have made the bag, and I'm going to show you what the bag looks like and show you exactly the steps to do it. It is not difficult, and it's really easy for your students. So here is the completed bag. Step one, right, what you're going to have your students do is they are going to cut a piece of paper towel. The paper towels are inside of your teacher bag, and then they're going to put it inside this bag. They're then going to use their pipette, okay, and this is a larger cup, but inside your bag you have a smaller cup. I encourage you to let them practice using a pipette. Okay, they're going to, the directions say to use 2 pipettes worth of water. Put that in first. The reason we do that is because it makes the paper towel stick to the bag a little bit easier. Then they are going to place 3 radish seeds and 3 sunflower seeds. This is a great time to have a discussion about why you put 3 seeds and not just 1 seed, and what do we think could happen to it and all of that. You're then going to put this up on a window. That's why we call them window gardens, and see how they start to grow. Students are going to make those observations over the next 7 days. Now, with this lovely garden, students should start to see that obviously the roots are going down. You start seeing the stems coming out the top. As a teacher, I encourage you to do a couple things. Number 1, make a bag, put it in the dark. After 5, 6, 7 days, pull it out and show your students. One thing you should notice is that everything, yes, it grows, but it has this white color to it, okay? Great way to then talk about how, well, why do we think it's white? What has it not been getting? Oh, it hasn't been getting light. And what's fun is when you take it out and then you put it in the light for 24 hours, all of a sudden it starts turning green because the light has activated the chlorophyll, which is great. And we start seeing that energy be produced. The other thing I encourage you to do is maybe talk to a couple students or do another bag yourself, totally up to you. But as they have them growing, ask them, what do you think would happen if you flipped the bag? Okay, it's really cool because plants will rewrite themselves. Like, what I mean by that is if they're growing and all of a sudden you flip them, their roots and they'll start to shift, okay? Because plants are smart and they know which way is supposed to be going up and which way is supposed to be going down. But it's a great way to talk to kids about why. That's why when we're planting things in the ground, it doesn't really matter if the seed is the perfect way or not, because their plants are smart enough to flip themselves. So just some really cool little extensions that you can do with that bag. Okay, part 2 of germination is a fun puzzle. So on inside their pack that they have is a fun puzzle. Now I've already cut out the 4 pieces, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so have your students cut out the 4 and then arrange them the way that they see best. Okay, you'll see up here then I've just moved them around in the correct order so that you can see. It also, after they've put them in an order, there is a little reading, inside here that talks to them about the germination process, and as it starts to germinate, they can see the roots and the stems and what each of them start to do. So that's one thing that's really cool. The final part of this activity is they're going to make another window garden, but this time they get to change something about the plant. So how much sunlight do they want to give it? How much water do they want to give it? Those type of things. And after they watch this window garden, they'll compare it to their first and give some of their observations, why they think things changed, why they think things happened to it. Just a really good claim evidence reasoning piece behind that. So that is the second activity. The next activity is called Flowers and the Plant Life Cycle. This one, we're going to use our student activity guide. You notice there are 2 more drawings here. They look very similar to the germination puzzle because it should. So have your students take out the germination puzzle again, and then what they're going to do is they're going to take a look at these 2 drawings and determine which one comes next. Okay, so first make some observations. What do they notice about this one and this one? Hopefully they'll notice on this one you see some flowers up top here, and then on this one there's a couple flowers, but it's actually started to turn into a seed. So make the claim evidence reasoning. Why does this one come before this one? hopefully the students know that you have to have the flower before the seed, but if they don't, that's okay. This is part of the learning process. So actually when they flip this over, you can see right up top here, it gives them a nice explanation of it. So it says a mature plant first produces flowers. So if they did them the other way, now they can flip them and they understand why. The next part of this, it's still considered the first part because we're looking at that plant life cycle. What is it? What does it look like? So we give them 4 stages: seedling, adult plant, seed, and germination. We also give them this great diagram, okay? And what we want them to do is, as a class, place them in order. Where do we start? And what happens as we go around. So as a class, you're going to determine, and then you're going to write right next to the number, whether it is seedling, adult plant, seed, or germination, okay? Then what you're going to do is inside the circle, draw it, okay? So you wrote what it is, now you're going to draw it. After you draw, we're going to look at 4 things that happen, and we're going to decide which stage is that. So this particular thing, I would definitely encourage your kids to use a pencil, okay? Have them go through, okay? Put it where they think it occurs. Is this the seed, seedling, etc.? But then, as a class, go through what's happening, and they may have to change, right? That's why I said use a pencil. But this is a great way to explore the full life cycle of a plant using pictures and words and drawings. So it really gets them to activate lots of different parts of their brain. Okay, part 2 of the flowers in the plant life cycle is actually going on a flower hunt. So you are going to take your students outside. It really, I guess, depends on where you live, what your environment looks like. But here in Raleigh, North Carolina, even though it's technically wintertime, we are seeing some different flowers pop up. But if it is wintertime and you do not have any flowers, feel free to grab some pictures of flowers that are in your area and share them with the students that way. Because what we want the students to think about after this flower hunt is we want them to draw them. So this is a great way to kind of have that nature walk outside. But feel free, you know, if you feel comfortable taking like 1 flower off of a plant, it's typically okay to do that. So, you know, bring it in so the kids can get a closer look. And we want them to make observations about multiple flowers. How are they similar? How are they different, right? We don't want to take all of the flowers because now the students know that that's how we make the seeds, right? On the very last page, there is a great, just little paragraph and about flowers and pollinators and how the flower then becomes into a seed and stuff like that. And what's great is the reason we have them go on the flower hunt is because after they read that passage, they learn all about pollinators. And we want them to look at the flowers they have, give examples of pollinators and why they might like that particular flower. Okay, so this is just a fun way to get the kids to connect with their current environment around them, but you can also do extensions, like I said, pull in some pictures and things like that from other places. So great way to look at flowers in the plant life cycle.